y'all, what's happening? It's Heidi in Closet here. Today we actually have a very, very special, let me hold on, special moment. We actually had some really good connections during filming All Stars 8, where we had some really good conversations. Like the three of us, we worked together so closely throughout the whole season, and we had some good conversations that we really felt like that necessarily didn't make the cut, and we would love to express it and and share it because we feel like it's a something that should be talked
It's a
about.
necessary conversation.
Exactly, and that's what it is. So here we are. I'm here with my good sisters, Lala and
Hey,
Kahanna
what's up?
Montrese.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you for
we
having me.
reunited. Right. Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you for coming. Oh, it's gonna be a Kiki up in here now. Okay,
Oh, yes, honey.
so the conversation that we're going to be having is we actually had a chance to talk about being from the Black community and like where we were. Let's start with where we come from, where we were raised up and stuff like that. So I'm from Ramsey, North Carolina, which is the south. It's part of the southern states, whatnot trees. And I was raised with my grandmother, and I was raised with a very like Christian. We go to church every Sunday. We actually went to church a lot. Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Thursday.
Saturday, and choir rehearsal on Tuesday.
And choir rehearsal.
Yeah.
Baby,
When was your
Yeah.
choir rehearsal? My choir rehearsal was on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays as well.
Yeah.
I
And
wasn't good enough for the choir.
you did sing.
You went to the choir?
But I was on the praise dance team. I was
Ah, of course.
liturgical girl. I was liturgical girl.
I did praise dance too,
Girl, I
girl.
was too gay for the praise team. They said, "Oh no, that thing is too gay."
No
No,
man, honey,
ma'am.
they have me up there twirling, girl, and getting it.
Not twirling for Jesus.
Yes, honey.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Where you from,
I'm actually
Mama?
from Panama City, Florida, which is very close to Alabama. So y'all already know it's very conservative,
Hmm.
very, homophobic.
Yeah.
And it was really hard for me. But here's the tea. Here's the tea. When you grow up in church, when you grow up in a place that's really kind of all you know, you just do the best that you can to like kind of hide yourself. And
Yeah.
it was very, 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 very hard growing up. But obviously, being from the South, I feel like it's a pressure cooker.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
You
sure.
either thrive or you just get swept up,
A crock pot.
and it's not easy being a pastor's kid. I was a
Oh,
That's
pastor
right.
kid.
You
pastor's
were a pastor
kid.
kid.
Yes,
Yeah.
honey. So all I knew was
Girl.
the church.
And did. And
Do you
So
see
did.
another
that's a little
church?
bit of my backstory growing up in Panama City. What about you, Lala? Where you from?
In the words of Angeria, I'm a Southern Bear from ATL. In the South as well. I'm a Southern girl. Growing up black and dark skinned in the
Yes.
South is quite the challenge. Okay, if you can survive that and make it out of that, you can make it anywhere. Okay, shout out to that.
And
Okay.
yeah.
I
There you
also grew
go.
up in the church. Right. I also grew up in the church as well. I grew up in like the projects, so like I'm a real ghetto hood fish down. Okay.
Hmm.
But I also
Yes.
grew up in the church. I didn't go to church as much as y'all did because I wasn't with that. I was trying to do other things. Lord forgive me.
Girl, so was we. We ain't had no choice.
Right.
Right.
I kind of had a choice. But yeah, I'm appreciative of like the South. Like the South, I learned so many things about life. So that's why I'm able to
Yes.
survive things nowadays in my adulthood because
Yeah.
of what the Southern values.
Something that
Like,
I've
Yes.
learned
oh my
from being in
God.
LA
Like,
now. So many people
yeah.
love that. Like, they say that there's a Southern charm and like how like hospitable we are from the South.
Yeah.
Yes.
People
Yeah.
people love that and they find that very endearing. And I'm like, well, that's just how we
But
are.
yeah, that's the one thing that was honestly a blessing coming from the South is you can't help but to be, super respectful. You can't help but to be thankful for
Yeah.
whatever you get. That was groomed into me as a young
Yeah.
child. It's just like always respecting elders, always like paying homage to those who come before you. So that
Yeah.
I will give kudos, coming from
Yeah.
the South because
Yeah.
you don't really see that outside of it, not a whole lot. And when people see you, they're like, what's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
Like how does this
I
black
agree.
boy like have so much manners and respect? And it's a shock for a lot of people when it's like that's all you know.
Right.
And also, with that being said, I also like watched my parents growing up take in different people. Like my parents were always giving. They would
Giving,
give
yes.
somebody a home, give somebody food, give somebody clothes to
Uh-huh.
wear. Like so, that's why I'm like very giving now because I've learned that growing up watching my parents.
You just talked about your parents. Let's go on to we talked about this as well. Our families, like how supportive and how instrumental they were in like your bringing up and stuff. Connie, you want to start us off? Along with y'all.
Yeah, sure. So both, like I said earlier, both my parents are pastors. My mom, this is what's crazy
Both.
is I felt like I had two cultures, you know, and one growing up. So it was very hard because my mom's Dominican and my dad is black, and you know, they had two different belief
Right.
systems. So that was really hard for me when I was like forced into Christianity and forced to like, kind of just have this one direction of life, and this is the only way that you can succeed. And for me it just never really sat right, but
Mm-hmm.
like I will say, I never questioned my parents' love for me.
Right.
I just knew, you know they're doing the best that they can with what they know.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, they didn't know anything about raising a gay son,
No.
and for me it was such a huge challenge to like separate them being parents and them just not understanding like who I am. And it was a constant battle because, I knew they loved me. They just didn't understand me.
Right.
So, I just say like, we have to have patience sometimes. And, when you're in it, you don't know any better. I ran away a few times trying to escape this and trying to like find my freedom and have my voice being heard. But it's like, I love them, but I just knew like, I have to spread my wings. I have to fly. I have to be who I am. And growing up in the church and growing up with, binoculars on me, it was
Mm-hmm.
so hard for me to express and be myself.
You.
So for years, I struggled with, finding my voice, speaking up for things that like I was passionate about. And I could see how even in my adult life, my childhood affected my personality, me
Yeah.
being my authentic self. Like these are things that I struggled with for a while because of my upbringing. And even down to like, I'm sure y'all are familiar with this, but being trade and being like a masculine man,
Yeah.
that was instilled into me to like, I have to be a certain kind of way.
And that's
And
very
so,
prominent in the black community because
yes,
Yes.
it's looked at as a weak thing in the black community.
If you're
If
too
if you
feminine,
absolutely.
show
yeah.
emotions, if you cry, if you're not masculine
Hmm.
enough, it's looked at as
Hmm.
a weakness, even more so than in other communities and races as
Yes,
well. And it's
yes,
really instilled in
I
us that
can
we have to
definitely
be tough.
Yeah, I can
absolutely.
definitely agree with that. For me, I was fortunate enough to have three parents: my biological
Okay.
father, my biological mother, and the father, my mother's husband, who actually raised me. I don't like to call him my stepfather because he's been in my life since I was born. So he's
Okay.
another father for me. Um, of course, difficult trying to raise a gay son. I was like forced into like football and sports, and like maybe that would just get the gay out of him. And I'm like, girl, well that's actually enticing me a little more around all these boys all the time, girl. Yes, I was very
Very bad.
rebellious. I was very
Mhm.
rebellious. So I would act super gay on the football team to the point where they told my dad, they was like, we don't think he's a good fit for this team. Like seriously, they put me off the
But he's
football
a
team
fit
for
in the
being
locker
gay.
room.
Okay, so it took a
A perfect
while.
fit.
Okay, it took a while for my mother. She was okay with it. Because she grew up around like gay people and blah blah blah. But my father, the one that raised me, it took him a while to accept it because he was like, I'm already raising somebody else's son, and I feel like I'm failing him as a father figure because he is too feminine. He's gay, and I had to explain to him that you raised me well. Okay, you raised me to be a man. I'm still a man.
Yeah.
You raised me to be a strong man. The gay part is just I was born with it. That has nothing to do with what you have done. You have done a great job, and I tell them this all the time. I appreciate you taking it because you didn't have to raise someone else's child technically. So I always tell him I appreciate you for what you have done because I have grew up to be a strong, successful black man, and that's all you wanted from me. But it took him a while to get to this point. Now we're the best of friends.
I
Like
love that.
he loves me. He loves Lala Ree. They love Drag Race. So I am really appreciative of my parents.
We love that. Kahanna, did you find it was more? Did you find that one of your parents found it easier than the other when it comes to like dealing with you being gay?
Yeah, well, okay, I'll say this. When I was growing up, they both were very much like in unison with, no, we don't want this. it's the devil's work. Like, you got a demon in you. It was very much that. And like, I had to go through a camp and everything, y'all, to try to pray the gay away. So they were very much, you know, on the same boat with that. But I will say now, my mom is my biggest fan. She is so supportive. Still a pastor, but she preaches love and acceptance more than anything. You know, my mom, she doesn't show any fear or resistance anymore, and that's the biggest thing. Is like, you know, sometimes we just have to teach our parents that, you know, it's okay, I'm different, and you know what, we're going through this together. And I just feel like my mom, she didn't know any better growing up. She did the best that she could with what she knew. And now, like, to see her literally preaching and having lectures on loving your gay children and supporting them, y'all, when I tell you, it breaks my heart, because I'm like, I never knew that, you know, this woman would come to be who she is today and be so supportive. And for me, that is everything. I may not have my dad's support now, but to have one is everything.
That's
you know
beautiful.
what I mean?
That's beautiful. And that,
What about you, Heidi?
For me, I was raised by my grandmother. God rest her soul. She actually, when my mother passed away at a very young age, she took me and my four other siblings under her roof and raised us from a very young age. She didn't necessarily have a problem with me being gay. She was more so about when I started becoming a drag queen, was when we started like butting heads. So like growing up, she always loved me, even though she knew I was gay. And the thing is, my family is actually a very queer family. Like my mother was bisexual. I had two
Wow.
I had two uncles. My eldest sibling is trans. My sister, my
Wow.
other sister is bisexual as well. My family's I'm a gay man. I have a very queer family. I only have two straight siblings. So
Wow.
it's very, very queer in my family.
So it's
So
not new for y'all.
no, no, no. My grandmother had been around it our whole lives. So being
She
the
was
gay part
prepared.
was always she was always there for me and supported me. Now when I started drag, that was when we started butting heads, because I remember the first time I ever came home from a drag show. I tried to get all the makeup off. When I was still living at home with her, and I really thought I went to that McDonald's bathroom, baby, and I was just scrubbing
Scrub
dub,
it up, dub.
scrub, because it was a sign of respect, because I knew she didn't necessarily like it, so I was trying to be respectful and take the
Right.
soft part out there. However, there was still some on. It was a big falling out. I was homeless at one point. I did move out for a little bit, and then eventually she came around to see that it was a way for me to still be artistic and entertain, and that
Yeah.
her biggest fear about me doing drag was that I wouldn't be able to sustain a living off of it, which is that is a very real fear in
Yes.
parents when they're raising their child. They want their child to be able to like sustain for themselves and provide for
Yeah.
themselves and stuff. So I completely, like, in the moment I was like, why was she not wanting me to do this? But looking back in hindsight, I know now where she was coming from in that sense. But by the time I started like doing pageants and stuff, she became like a big fan of mine. She would like look at my stuff. She would always ask me to see pictures and videos. Let me see you performing and stuff. And I remember this one time I was going to one of my first pageants, and she was like, "Now make sure you get the right pantyhose. Don't you let them cross you with the wrong color pantyhose. Here, come here, come
Don't.
here."
Yes.
I was like,
Don't let her.
so she was like, "Get it. What you gonna do? What you gonna do it right?" That's what Grandma would say.
Okay.
Right.
I love
Right.
that. I love that.
So it was like a journey for us, but it was a beautiful journey. And then she did end up passing shortly after season 12. But I do have to say that I I always wanted to grow old enough to be able to like show her that I can take care of myself, and that I could hopefully one day take care of her as well. And she got to see that I had that capability before she left this world. So I can say that I feel amazing and amazing about the whole experience. And so
Okay. So beautiful.
And
yeah.
I love
before we
that.
move on, because when we're at Drag Race, you don't know what's going on. There's so much going on. Blah 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 blah
So
blah.
much.
So I to see your scene, Heidi, talking about your grandmother, I really felt that, and I commend you for having that vulnerable moment in on the season.
Thank
Yeah.
I could relate to that because my grandmother passed, and I kept telling her, "I'm gonna come see you, girl. I'm gonna take a break,"
you,
and
girl.
then
It
before I knew
happened.
it, she was,
Yeah.
right. So I commend you
Wow.
for that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was definitely rough. I wasn't expecting that moment to come out. It came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, and it just hit me, and I just
Yeah.
the thing is, what I do, I'm an open book, so I just try to like, once the like day
Hmm.
going, it just pours. But
Hmm.
now, Lala, you actually touched on this earlier about how it was difficult for you growing up in the South, being a dark skinned Black person. Can you tell us?
Yeah.
Because there's a thing in our community called colorism.
Colorism.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think this is a
Color.
chance for you to speak on it, sis.
Yes, it is. So, society has instilled that lighter complexions are more pretty or, more
Desirable.
successful or desirable. And the more darker complexions are more, on the lower end of the totem pole. But they're also the more sexualized, too, because everybody wants a dark-skinned man.
A BBC.
A BBC, you know what I'm saying? But growing up, I can remember kids are the worst. I remember kids would like pick on me and like, are you from Africa? Yes, bitch, we're all from Africa. Like about, but no, like, what part of Africa are you from? Or they would call me like an oil spill. Like they would just say the worst things, to me to make me feel bad. And I think that is where like me being like this funny character came from, because I use my jokes to be a distraction from my skin color, and I had to also learn to look in the mirror and tell myself that you're beautiful no matter what, and bitch, you got good skin, because I would look at some of these light skinned girls with these little red pimples and stuff on their face.
Girl, that
And I'm
melanin
just
is
you now.
bitch. That melanin is a blessing, ho. That melanin is a
You know what I
blessing.
mean? But it took me a while to realize that and to appreciate that. As I got older, I started to embrace it more, and I make sure I let it be known, like, bitch, black is in, okay? The black is the variance with the juice. But of course, I still deal with colorism to this day. Like, even being a drag queen in this industry, I still deal with colorism. I just know how to handle it better. I don't allow it to affect me now, because the bitch is still booked, still blessed, and still busy.
And we're blessed and highly favored.
That
part.
It's funny because on the other spectrum, I am biracial, and a lot of people they don't know that. They'll look at me, the Latin community, and think, I'm just black, and you would be surprised how racist that community can be towards their own, as well as the blacks are. No tea with colorism.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It was like very hard for me to connect with that part of my culture because I never felt accepted from it.
Yeah.
And so, it's crazy when you're looking for love in any type of direction and you don't feel like you can really connect with somebody. It fucks with you. Even your own people can show you hate. And I feel like that's like a big thing within like our community. It's like the worst comes from our own people.
And we fought. It's a lot of infighting. That's what it ended up becoming. And we trying to come together as a community and like go forward together. But with all the infighting, we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. It's very hard
every time.
And I've experienced colorism myself. Like I have 2 of my siblings. I have all half siblings, but we were all raised together, so we're whole siblings. So like, they're my siblings, for true and true. But my 2 eldest siblings share the same father, and one is lighter and one is darker. And I could see in the family how they would treat my second sibling, Rayvon, way different because he was darker. And I'm like, well, it just seemed so fucked up to me. I was young and I was watching. And I was like, no, that's just wrong, because it is. It's wrong. And I remember my grandmother once telling me, because my grandmother, she was on the darker side too, and she would always tell me, now Heidi, well, she would say Heidi, she'd say Trevin. She would say, Trevin, don't you waste your high yellow. I was like, oh, what's that mean?
That's a high yellow.
That's what
it's funny because that's the same thing. The same thing within my family. I have 3 siblings that I grew up with, and I'm the lightest one out of all of us. But it was interesting because you could definitely see the colorism within how people would treat us, and they would be like, "Ain't no way that's your daddy," and I would see them do that to my brother, but. You have to remember, I was experiencing my own things. So I knew it was important for me to make my younger sister, who is, much darker, feel love, feel beautiful.
Yeah.
Because she was.
Exactly.
She absolutely, she looks like a fucking model.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I could see the beauty, but no tea. Other people, when they see skin, sometimes they just think there's no way that, this one is her sister because clearly he's lighter, so he's got to be white,
Yeah.
And we would hear these things, and I'm like, y'all don't listen to that. Don't ever think that your skin complexion makes you more attractive or not, because that is not the case.
No.
Yeah.
And it's important for, if anybody, Black people especially within our own community, to praise all complexions, to lift each other up, because no tea, it starts within our own community.
Yes.
They do.
Shout out to
They
you,
do.
Kahanna. Shout out to you. Yeah.
You have spoke.
We need more people
You have
like that.
spoke me.
Yes, God.
Oh,
We
I
need more people
believe
like
it.
that to embrace the entire community. Because at the end of the day, the other people, they see us all as just Black.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly. We all the same.
to them. We all just Black.
Right. So let's embrace each
a beautiful
other.
thing.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful thing. But it's like, if they see us that way, and one day it will come a time when even white people will see the beauty in being Black. It will
they
come a
already
time
see it.
when all of us, they already see it, but they don't know it. They may see it, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting on that time when we're really truly lifted, where there's not just Beyonce's that are lifted, but you see Kelly Rowland's on the same level. You know what I mean? Because it's so deserving. They're so deserving.
Yeah. And let's just talk about how Kelly Rowland, I'm sorry, Kelly Rowland just killed this recent
And
performance
she
in
did.
London.
Did you see when she got on the ground in that cat suit? It was working in eyes of the floor work, mama.
Yeah.
I'm living.
Just give me my Destiny Child reunion and stop playing with me.
Okay.
Please, someone. We need something like that.
If they don't give it to us, we're going to do it ourselves.
Right.
Here we are. Here we are.
And I'm going to be Latavia. I put it out there.
I'm going to be Farrah's luggage.
Oh my God.
Her luggage, Lala?
Now, Lala, get out.
The one that made it on the plane, right?
The luggage is more famous than her. No shade, bitch.
I didn't say it. I just want to put out. I didn't say it.
I love them all, girl. No shade.
I'm living.
Okay. So let's talk one more thing. Okay, so being Black in America, there are times when I feel like, for me personally, I feel like there's a struggle for us for leaving a legacy. Because I feel like our families are generations behind other families here, specifically white families, because of slavery. Our families were free as slaves and then had to fight from that point on to move forward. And I feel like I do personally feel pressure of leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like it is my responsibility and my duty as a Black person to make a name for myself, to leave a legacy, and to keep my name going forward. And I was wondering how do y'all feel about those kind of things, being that we've had to struggle?
Well, I would love to tap into this because I don't know if you guys know, but I am initiated into Lukumi, which is an African-based religion, and the main purpose of the religion is ancestor veneration. So it's really paying homage to your ancestors. And for me, there was a moment when I went to Drag Race, and I really just had to take it in because I was like, out of my family, I'm the one who really went out and did something like this wasn't possible before. And I'm sure there was gay people in my ancestry, to be able to be here, a gay Black man doing what I love, following my passions, performing. There was a moment where I was in my head about a few things that I'm like, fuck all that. I am here for them because I know they're looking down like, look at what we weren't able to do it. But he is. And I could feel them with me. So for me, it was like, I have to do the groundwork because I need to set the future foundation for my generation to come. It's possible. We can win. And, I didn't have a lot of people in my family to look up to that were really, pioneers in whatever they did. So I'm like, I want to make sure that, I'm giving my best foot forward, that I'm doing something that there's probably someone in my family who wish they had the opportunity. So I'm doing that for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I was very pressured, and still to this day, to continue to succeed and to be successful, because there are other gay people in my family. However, they went a different route with the drugs and, you know, a different lifestyle or whatever. So I wanted to be that gay in the family to show that you don't have to go that route. Like, you can.
Yes.
There are opportunities for us to do what we love and what we want to do. I sacrificed a lot to be successful, I threw myself in my work for so long, which is like why I missed my grandmother before she passed away and stuff like that. But it has always been like instilled in me that you have to be successful. It's no other choice, because the gay that's gonna come behind me in the family, I want them to look up to me and say, okay, so it is possible for somebody in my family to be successful. We all don't have to go down this welfare route or the easy way out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I that's why I push so hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I truly feel that for true, because I remember growing up having to sit out in front of like these food banks, just because that's what we had to do. It was 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, freezing in the winter. We sitting out front of the food bank so we can have food to eat. And I want the next generation of my people to not have to necessarily have to go through that, and that's the pressure that I feel. Like, and also just being present and being like someone of color that's like on TV or is on social media, like being seen and being like all that, like just being that for someone else, so they can see it and they can be like, I can do that too. I do feel that is something that I put on myself, that I want to make sure that I show people that you can do it too. Like, it's not just like I come from poverty down. Period. Point blank. Yeah. It's doable.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm sure we all can relate to this. Like, making a way out of absolutely nothing. Yeah. It's just a blessing.
It's about how bad you want it and that willpower, you know. Some people just give up. But it's possible. You just got to keep on pushing. You have to keep on pushing.
You know, it's crazy because, you know, growing up, I used to always tell my mom, like, I'm going to be a star. I don't know what it is, how it's going to happen, but I guarantee you're going to see me on TV. And she could tell you the story. Like, I used to always tell her that. And growing up in such like I said, a conservative small town, that is definitely not a possibility for most, you know? Like, so for me, I don't know how, but I had the determination. I'm going to make it happen. And even if I don't see it, I believe in myself enough to know that I can do whatever it is. So I was so happy that I got the call to be on Drag Race, that I got the call to be seen. And, you know, sometimes you have to take yourself back to when you were a child and not seeing the possibility. And it's like, to be able to be the first to do this in my community, it's like, oh my gosh, it's such a blessing, you know? Like, we're really setting trends and a way of life for our people to succeed. Yeah.
Very much so. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Y'all, this has really been some amazing talking points. I'm actually really glad that we were able to set aside some time to do this, because I remember. Do y'all remember the producer came up to us shortly after we had finished filming, and they said
that this was the best Untucked.
It was literally the best Untucked, and then she was like, "However, the energy's going to change when the girls get in here."
Yeah, I remember that. And it was crazy because I was so looking forward to that being on TV, because it was such a powerful moment, and for whatever reason, I'm sure it was editing and time, but we have our platforms, and I really, really hope that this gets out there, because people do need to understand, like. It's a lot that goes into our lives. And, when you're coming for certain girls, maybe get to know their story.
Absolutely.
Get to know,
it's a daily fight.
Who they are, because there might be a lot of similarities than you realize.
Exactly. And with that, also saying that, y'all, don't be sending no hate. Y'all, it's a TV show.
Okay.
Entertainment, darling. It's just drag.
Watch the damn
It's entertainment, y'all.
Watch the show.
Anything. Just have fun.
Just watch
okay. Like, y'all want entertainment, or y'all just want to just look at each other? Okay. What do y'all want?
Right, because y'all can blame when it's born. And when we get it to you.
Yeah, complain too. Y'all want to be satiated, but y'all don't want it when y'all get it.
Right.
And also, I want to plug.
Oh, I was about
to see a good black experience. Nubia will be in Seattle on June 19th for the Juneteenth show
Yes.
with me, BB Zahara, Shea Coulee, Mo Hart, and Raj O'Hara. So come out and get a black experience. It's for everybody. It's just not for black people. It's for everybody. But you're gonna get the
Everybody.
black experience, honey.
Well, Lala,
Yes.
now that you said that, I was about to get there. Let the people know where they can find you, what you may be working on next, and like where plug away, ladies, plug away.
Let's play. Let's
Yes.
play.
So, well, of course, you can find me on social media at Miss Lala Reed on everything. You can catch me on Paramount Plus every Friday for RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes, ma'am.
Also at the Nubia show on June 19th. But I'm all over the place, literally. God is good. So you can just check on my Instagram. I will always post like where I'm going to be at, the dates and all that. And new music is coming. So watch out for that.
Honey.
Now, that's news for me, ho.
Yeah.
You know, I was bumping that phone during your season 13.
Because me and Heidi, we got a taste. We didn't realize that Lala can actually get bars, y'all.
She's that girl.
She's very talented. So please check out my sister's music.
Very talented.
Yes, I can't
And
wait.
Kahanna, where can we find you?
So, so you guys can check out my social media, Kahanna Montrese, on everything. And I definitely will be posting cities that I'm coming to. So you guys will be able to check that out and see where I'm headed to. I'm doing Work the World. I start in Atlantic City next week. So I'm super excited about that. This is my first big tour. I'm super excited.
Tours are fun.
Congrats, girl.
Tours are fun.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm here in Vegas. So if I'm ever in town, you guys, like I said, you'll be able to see on my social media when I'm in town. I'll be at Senior Frogs for Drag Brunch and then Drag Race Live at the Flamingo.
Work, ho. Oh, yes. Okay.
Oh,
I'm so happy. Girl, this is gonna be on my platforms, girl. Where y'all been following?
They know where you at.
Y'all better know where I'm at. But if y'all don't,
I know that's right.
Heidi in Closet everywhere, except for TikTok. It's the Heidi in Closet. And I'm just so happy that we were able to have these conversations because it did hurt a little bit that none of it made the edit. I was like gagged. So I'm just happy we were able to have this. Thank y'all, ladies, so much for joining us and having and being vulnerable and opening up about these topics. Really, it means a lot to me.
Thanks for having us, love. It's always a good time to kick you with my dog.
Absolutely.
I
love you ladies so much. I'm so proud of everything y'all are doing. Y'all are killing it, not only on social media, but in real motherfucking life.
Y'all doing it too.
You're really holding it down for the girls.
Indeed.
Both of y'all.
All right, everyone. This has been a lovely, lovely chat. I want to call this like some Black excellence or some so let's talk color, living in color, something like that. I feel like that's what it's giving. And thank y'all for tuning in and watching. This will be a Patreon exclusive for just a couple of days, and then I will be releasing it on all platforms and sharing with the girls as well, and so we can really have these conversations with people. But thank y'all all for tuning in. This has been. Who are y'all? Let them know.
Lala Reed, the Lala Reed experience, baby.
Yes.
Okay, Kahanna Montrese in the house.
And I'm Heidi in Closet. Love y'all so much. See you soon.
Bye, guys.